tell you like this. When I saw that, I think T.I. fucking lying.
Tell me. It been 20 years, bro. It been 20 years. I figure if I wasn't built like that, it'll show by now. It been 20 years, bro. I done faced every challenge motherfucker that like to throw at me, man. You ain't seen me fold, you ain't seen me break down.
I gotta say something about this, bro. Dwayne Wade, you gone too fucking far, dog. That is a male. A 12-year-old. At 12, they don't even know what their next meal gonna be. They don't have it figured out yet. He might meet a woman, anything, at 16 and fall in love with her. But his be gone. How he gon' like, bro? You going too far, dog. Don't cut his off, bro. Like, bro, for real. If he gonna be gay, let him be gay. But don't cut his off, bro.
The courtroom was supposed to be quiet, professional, and controlled. But in an instant, all of that shattered. T.I. stood up, his voice echoing off the walls, his anger cutting through the silence like a knife. People froze. Lawyers shifted uncomfortably. The judge slammed the gavel, demanding order. But T.I. didn't care. His words were louder than the gavel, louder than the whispers in the crowd. He wasn't speaking as a rapper or a celebrity or a businessman. In that moment, he was speaking as a father. And his words were directed straight at Boosie. He accused him of something so personal, so raw, that even people who had seen drama before were shocked. He said Boosie had been manipulating his son, King Harris. That accusation didn't just hang in the air, it exploded. People gasped. Some leaned forward, eager to catch every detail, while others shook their heads in disbelief. This wasn't some industry beef playing out in songs or interviews. This was real life. A father, desperate and angry, standing in front of the world and claiming that another man, once considered a friend, had poisoned the mind of his child. To understand why this moment shook so many, you have to go back. T.I. and Boosie weren't always enemies. In fact, there was a time when they stood side by side, two Southern rappers making names for themselves in a world that didn't always welcome them. Their paths crossed often, on stages, in studios, and even in personal moments. But like so many relationships in the music world, the bond wasn't as strong as it seemed. Underneath the smiles, the handshakes, and the collaborations, there was tension. And that tension grew over the years, fed by disagreements, rivalries, and pride. Still, even with their ups and downs, nobody could have predicted that the biggest fallout between them would center around King Harris. King has always been more than just T.I. and Tiny's son. He grew up in the spotlight, cameras capturing his childhood, his teenage years, and now his journey into adulthood. But growing up under that much attention comes with pressure. Every move he makes gets analyzed. Every slip-up gets amplified. And in recent years, fans have seen a shift. King has been acting out, getting into drama, and showing a rebellious side that has both entertained and worried people. That rebellious streak didn't happen overnight. It built up over time, shaped by the environment around him, the people he listened to, and the voices he chose to follow. And according to T.I., one of the loudest voices in King's ear was Boosie. At first, people thought their connection was harmless. Boosie had always been outspoken, a man who lived unapologetically and never bit his tongue. For a young man like King, hanging around someone like that probably felt exciting, maybe even empowering. But for a father watching from the outside, it was terrifying. T.I. saw his son gravitating towards someone who glorified the very lifestyle he wanted to protect him from. By the time they ended up in court, the tension had already reached a breaking point. T.I. had been trying to pull his son back, to keep him grounded, to remind him of the values he was raised with. But every effort seemed to push King further away. And in his eyes, Boosie was fueling the fire. So when the moment came, when the frustration and fear could no longer be bottled up, T.I. snapped. He stood up and told the court, the world, and Boosie himself exactly how he felt. He said Boosie wasn't just influencing King, he was manipulating him. He was encouraging him to disrespect his family, to reject guidance, to chase the reckless lifestyle that destroys so many young men before they even realize what they're losing. It wasn't just a fight over opinions. To T.I., it was a fight for his son's future. The judge demanded silence, but you could feel the energy in the room. Boosie sat there, unbothered on the surface, but his eyes gave away more than he wanted. He smirked, he shook his head, but you could tell the words hit, because deep down, whether he admitted it or not, there was truth in what T.I. was saying. Outside the courtroom, the story spread like wildfire. Headlines blasted across the internet. T.I. accuses Boosie of manipulating King Harris. Social media lit up with debates. Fans were split. Some sided with T.I., saying any father had the right to protect his child from negative influences. Others defended Boosie, claiming he was just being himself and that King was responsible for his own choices. But regardless of where people stood, everyone agreed on one thing. The situation had spiraled into something bigger than music, bigger than fame. This was about family. What makes T.I.'s anger so raw is the fear that every parent knows too well. The fear of losing your child to the world. King isn't just some teenager experimenting with life. He's the son of a legend, a young man with eyes on him at all times. That spotlight can be intoxicating, but it can also be dangerous. Every bad decision becomes a headline, every slip-up a scandal. And when those headlines are mixed with someone like Boosie in the picture, someone who doesn't care about playing it safe, the stakes become even higher. T.I. has always been open about his mistakes, about the struggles he faced growing up in Atlanta, about the choices that nearly cost him everything. He fought hard to rise above it, to build a legacy, to create opportunities for his family. So watching his son repeat patterns he tried to escape isn't just frustrating, it's heartbreaking. And seeing another man, especially one like Boosie, encourage that behavior feels like betrayal. But from Boosie's side, the story looks different. He's always positioned himself as a survivor, someone who tells it like it is. To him, being real is more important than playing by society's rules. So when people accuse him of manipulating King, he pushes back. He says he's just being a mentor, showing the young man how the world really works. In his mind, he's not pulling King down. He's giving him the tools to navigate life without sugarcoating it. The problem is, mentorship and manipulation can sometimes look the same, especially when the person in question is still figuring out who they are. For King, the line between guidance and influence may already be blurred. Does he admire Boosie, or is he being steered by him? Is he making his own choices, or is he echoing someone else's? These are the questions that haunt T.I., the questions that keep him up at night. Fans online have been ruthless in their analysis. Some say T.I. needs to accept that King is grown now, that he can't control every move he makes. Others argue that Boosie has no business inserting himself into someone else's family dynamic, especially when it's causing division. And then there are those who simply enjoy the spectacle, watching the drama unfold like it's just another reality show. But this isn't entertainment for T.I. This is his real life. His real child, his real family being torn apart. That's why the courtroom moment was so explosive. It wasn't about winning an argument or scoring points. It was about a father reaching his breaking point. A man willing to risk his image, his reputation, and even legal consequences to speak his truth. And the truth, as painful as it may be, is that this situation is far from over. King is still growing, still making choices, still walking a path that could go either way. T.I. can shout, plead, and fight, but at the end of the day, King has to decide who he wants to be. And that's what makes this so terrifying. Because if he chooses wrong, the consequences won't just affect him. They'll affect his entire family, his legacy, his future. As for Boosie, he's not backing down either. He thrives on controversy. Every headline, every accusation, every viral clip only adds to his persona. To him, being called a manipulator might even be a badge of honor, proof that he has influence. And that's what makes him dangerous in this story. Because as long as King sees him as someone worth listening to, T.I. will always be fighting an uphill battle. The courtroom clash might have been the loudest moment so far, but it won't be the last. The tension between T.I. and Boosie has been simmering for years, and now it's boiling over. The question is, how far will it go? Will they continue to trade words in public, dragging King further into the chaos? Or will someone finally step back and realize the damage being done? For now, the world is watching. Every move, every statement, every post on social media adds another layer to the drama. Fans wait for King's next action, wondering if he'll side with his father or continue to follow in Boosie's shadow. And T.I., despite all his power and success, stands in the most vulnerable position a man can be in, a father trying to save his son before it's too late. The story isn't finished. In fact, it's only beginning, and the outcome will not only define T.I. and Boosie's relationship, but also shape the future of King Harris himself. Will he rise above the manipulation and find his own path? Or will he get lost in the chaos of fame, influence, and outside voices? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. The courtroom snap was just the beginning of a battle that's about to get even messier, even louder, and even more personal.